Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you again from what has been a wet and soggy North Carolina and a terrible week in the Matrix for you. So that's why I've been a little pushed this week, a little late this week, but I am here nonetheless. So let's go ahead and talk about the Appalachian Trail Thru Hikers and what's going on the trail and the reason that you're here. So first off, PTL, he is out of the shanties and he has seen a lot of bears. Saw multiple bears in the last 2 miles before he got to Tom Floyd's shelter. So we've been talking about that the whole time. Lots of bears out there. This is bear season. Kodak made it to Vermont and says that the water sources in Vermont are great. Crazy Quilt and Wild, they actually crossed paths there in New Jersey. So that's pretty neat. Two thru hikers crossing paths there. And of course that happens a lot, but still pretty neat when they get together like that. Big Rig, he crossed into Maine on his flip-flop from Maryland, and he plans to summit Mount Katahdin somewhere in mid-August, and then go back to Maryland and continue on his flip-flop Sobo. 40, he has went ahead and flipped up to Katahdin and should be coming into Monson this weekend if he's not already there. Crash, he's made it to Monson and continuing on his Sobo hike. Monk and his current Tramley, they have crossed over the Hudson River there at the bridge, and they got a chance to take in the drive-in movie theater up there in New York, and they just look like they've been having a great bunch of time. And he says he's with Buckler, Freefall, Rudy, Billy, Boy, MacGyver, and Wild and 5-0 are somewhere around in their territory. Snow White is back on the trail and heading into Great Barrington, Massachusetts. So she made it to Massachusetts and says that the trail in Connecticut has plenty of ups and downs, just like New York. And she's been hiking with Boomer and Reboot for a few days now, and it's just been lovely having people around camp. So she hasn't. She's been hiking a lot by herself and finally got some folks around her. Crazy Quilt ran into Greyhound, and Greyhound has returned to the trail. Michael Bay has finally got his trail name, and his trail name is No Breaks. And he is finished with Pennsylvania, and he's been hiking with Pace and Bulldog. And he wants to thank Munn for all the water caches that Munn has put out up there in Pennsylvania between Bake Oven Road and Wind Gap. So Munn's a trail angel. His big thing is putting out water right now, and he does a great job of that. And then Dirty Jobs and his Tramley, they are in the presidentials. They've summited Mount Washington, and they are, last I saw, they were up at Mount Madison. Free Walker checked in, and his story is a story of perseverance. And he says that they've been hiking Port Clinton, and so far the rocks in Pennsylvania are not as bad as he thought they would be. And he says that they've reached a third wave of hikers now. And he says that he's hiking around Walmart, Hollywood, Caveman, Snail, Phantom, and besides Atlas, which he says is also Dan. Been hiking with them for a while. And he says behind him is Splinter, Dirty, Wonder, Hot Pants, and a few others. So considering all the problems that we've had this year, there are a good number of folks out there on the trail. So that's a great way of looking at it. Just everybody's been persevering this year. Some people stayed out the whole time, but other folks have come back and got on the trail, and they are continuing their hike no matter what it takes to finish it. And speaking of perseverance, High Class and her hiking partner have summited Mount Katahdin. So congratulations to High Class. I don't know her hiking partner's name. If somebody knows that, drop that in the comments section. And we want to give both of them credit. And it looks like that they are glad to, that their hike has reached that northern terminus, and just a lot of excitement for them, and just a big shout out, big congratulations to you, High Class. And then we've also got down in the description section there, we've got a new hiker that we have added to the rest of the hiker list, and that is Patriot. So that hiker list can be found down in the description section, a link there to that Google spreadsheet, and you'll find everybody there that we are tracking right now, and you'll find the links to their social media. So hopefully I'd like for you to subscribe to this page and then go subscribe to their pages and comment on their pages, whatever their social media is. Keep them pumped up all the way throughout their hike. Talked a little bit about bears earlier. The Cosby Knob shelter at mile 231 has been closed due to bear activity. So that's one place in the Smokies where you will not be able to stay. And then something that we don't often talk about, but I have seen a lot of people posting, and that is rattlers, rattlesnakes. So there has been, it seems like I've seen more posts about rattlers on the trail this year than I have before, even despite the small quantity of people compared to most years that are out there on the trail. And we even ran across a rattler and didn't even know it until a guy came behind us and caught up to us and told us that, hey, did you see that rattler back there? And we're like, oh, nope, sure didn't. Well, that's kind of scary when you don't hear it, but we didn't hear it, nor did we see it. So keep a watch out for those rattlers. They are out there. Some trail news. The MUN reports in that the Kittredge shelter at the Kittredge Retreat Center there in Pennsylvania, the water that has been turned off for so long has now been turned back on. So MUN had been putting out water there at that shelter, but no need to do that anymore. The water source there is turned on. And then Granger reports in that the AMC hunts are all closed for overnight guests. So they do have a limited menu, limited food items, limited drinks, the restrooms, you can use those, and they do have fresh potable water. And in the Whites, he reports in that you got tent sites, privies, and the shelters are all open. But he says good luck on weekends when the facilities are loaded to capacity these days with furlough Fridays. So that must be something they got going on up north there, that the weekends actually start on Thursday. And he also did indicate that there are no work for stay opportunities at the hut. So typically, you can go in there, and where the people that have paid to be in the shelter, they'll let thru hikers come through and do a work for stay, and then you get the leftovers that the thru hikers didn't eat, and you get to stay there. In this case, there's not meals being served per se. People are not overnight guests, so there is no work for stay. Trail Angels, just another example of how the hiker community looks out for each other. Chris in New York, she continues to place her cooler out there and do her trail magic each day, and said she estimates that close to 60 hikers came through over this past week and got to take advantage of the trail magic that she had put out there. And then she also said that she'd been helping folks with some slack packs, and particularly on hot days, and cold drinks. And she also has started another trailhead up around Kent, Connecticut. So she's helping out, putting some coolers and some trail magic out there for folks, and that she's expecting a bit of a bubble to come through over the next week. And she also indicated that the weather up there this week is going to be very hot and humid. She's been slack packing some flip-floppers and stuff like that. Some section hikers, because of the heat, have had to go home, but no thru hikers that she's aware of out there have gone home because of the heat. And she also indicated that some of these section hikers have actually contributed to helping her out. They left extra stuff out of their pack that they weren't going to be using for the thru hikers coming through. So the hiker community, of course, is not just thru hikers, it's all of us that are involved in the hiker community, section hikers, trail angels, the like. And so that's great when those folks like that can help out and leave a little stuff behind. So things are clicking along great, other than just being a low census rate this year because of what's going on out there. The trail is happening, things are going on. We're getting into summit season now, and expecting to see a lot of summits. So if y'all folks out there know of somebody that's summited that I don't mention, please let me know. We want to honor them and mention them here. We also want to put their name on the thumbnail, just as my little small thing that I can do to honor people that have finished their hike. And that not only includes people that are that finished at Mount Katahdin, but at Springer or anywhere in between. Folks, that's all I got this week. I appreciate you watching. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out here.